Welcome back to the channel. I've had some people ask about the modified kegger, the blower manifold that I had on the Dakota. Now anyone that's been following knows I rebuilt the engine, I've been going through mod by mod and going and dynoing it, and we're up to 307, almost 302 hot pass, and 340 something foot-pounds. So I'm going to keep playing with that some more and get the horsepower up. Compression's a little high to use the blower right now, that's why it's not on there. But I think I want a different set of heads, open the chambers up, drop compression back down to at least 9.5. But we'll see. I may end up running methanol on it and letting it rip. I've really got the itch to do that. But blower spinning too fast. I need to get a stock pulley or a stock size pulley, because this is swapped around to get it to line up with the belt. So I'd have to get some kind of bigger pulley here and an underdrive pulley for the truck on the crank side to get that thing slowed down to not make that much boost, so that it will survive with this compression ratio. But, so eventually this will go back on. But, so anyone else may want to replicate this, I guess that's why people have been asking. So, this is a M122 off of a GT500. I bought it for 800 bucks quite a while ago. I blew up one ram with it. I had a Magnum throttle body sitting sideways. It sat like this forever on a regular manifold, just straight up and down like it should be. No problems. All I did was make an adapter, turn it sideways, 2 days, sucked in a throttle screw. Killed the piston. So that was the end of that one. And then this one, I overheated it because I forgot to turn the fans off. Hurt the head gaskets. I got on it pretty hard. I'm sure it probably detonated because it hit like 16 pounds. Blew a head gasket. And then anyone else has followed along saw me mess up cam timing. I ate all the intake valves. So we went ahead and put all forged internals so that when I'd go back to this, we'd be a little safer. But I didn't intend to hit that 10.5, or like 10.3 to 1. I didn't intend for that. I bought the pistons 10 years ago. Should have paid more attention. But anyway, moving on. So, GT500 blower, kegger. Get this thing out of the way. It's really nothing special, but it is a lot of work. The runners are super short because you really don't have a choice. You probably could leave a little more, but I don't think it mattered. It drove great. It worked great. Made plenty of boost, plenty of torque. It would just annihilate tires. Now, with stock springs, I believe it had a lot of valve float because it did not want to go past 4,500. I'm pretty sure it was floating the valves. With that much boost in the valve, the surface area, and stock springs, with RPM, it makes sense. Air fuel was fine, spark was fine, no signs of detonation on spark plugs. It just had to be floating valves. So, everything's just gutted. And this is just a 3/8 plate, bought off Amazon. This is the second one I've done. I did another one when I blew the ram up. This isn't the same manifold. I was 18, I had a piece of 1/4 inch of aluminum, and it worked. Of course, it warped like hell. This one's a little warped, and this is a 3/8 plate. Took a lot of time getting everything spaced just right, and anyone that has worked on one of those blowers before knows like the O-rings in the top part of that intake. So that doesn't exist. So I've just been RTVing it on. It's worked fine. It's a pain in the ass to get back off, but it seals up just fine. So it's really not that complicated. But whenever I had access to a mill to shave the top of this as flat as I could with the mill, so that I knew when I put this plate down it would be straight. So that's probably the key to this whole thing. A good thick piece of aluminum, and that being milled nice and straight. Other than that, it's a lot of grinding and just a crap ton of time. Another thing, all the bolt holes for the blower ended up outside, which is great. I just tapped these. The original 1/4 inch plate, I put nuts on the bottom. It was very crude. It worked. It worked good enough to blow it up. This one, I made sure it was thick enough and tapped them, so no nuts on the bottom. But you've got to run really short injectors. So that's why I've got LS3. I'll pop the hood on the Dakota. I'll just show you. There's still no hold downs on my fuel rails right now, but it doesn't matter. They only see is vacuum. I just stopped while I was watching that video while putting it together. when I said I don't have any hold downs, there's nothing holding the rail down. The injector is held in by this clip. So don't get confused. Don't just set your rail on there without these injectors clipped in and burn your stuff to the ground. So, just saying. So that's why I have these really short LS3 injectors. And I shaved this enough, just enough to get those in the rail in there. Any shorter and they wouldn't fit. And any taller, and you start getting where this ends up where your bolt holes are, which isn't good. Also to get it under the hood. Now, I didn't always have that scoop on there. That scoop, it's not for blower clearance. It fit with the factory blower. Or it fit without being cut with the blower. But I made this thing. So I didn't have an air filter on it. So I made this. It sat right here. This part bolted to the snout. And this was under that hole right there. So this sat right here. So that's why I had the scoop on it. Now I've grown to like the scoop, so it doesn't matter what this thing gets, I'm going to leave it on there. I have cut it down about an inch. It used to be an inch taller. I think it looks much better, a little more low profile. So that's everything I had to do while I had it. While I was doing everything, I welded on a block of aluminum, drilled and tapped it. This is a Srt4 Map Sensor. These are like 2 1/4 bar. It was a pain to put it here. I would not do it again. I'd remote mount it. Don't do this. Also, what I've learned from tuning the Jeep stuff, there's a supercharged Grand Cherokee. I broke transfer case a little while back. Actually, I think 2 weekends ago. So I'll be doing stuff with it once it cools down outside. But I learned on it to use the Honda map sensor. They're cheap. It's a 1 3/4 bar, so as long as you keep it under 11 pounds of boost, that's perfect. You can scale with HP tuners, and you can mess around with the numbers and make it work with any map sensor. But as long as you're not going over 11 pounds, you don't have to scale a damn thing. You just wire that thing in, and somewhere around 66 kPa is atmospheric now. Anything over that's boost. So whenever I go back with this, that's what I'm going to do. And unless I need more boost than that with any other project, I will always use that Honda map sensor from now on. It's cheap, it's easy. What else did I have to do? Oh, I guess I can pop the hood again. Something else I had to do is I got rid of the air conditioning. Whether you have to or not, I don't know. I did though. But where this was, where the pulleys came through, and you can go back and watch the video of me getting it back running. I made this to clear with the belt up here and everything. And when I was putting it back together, naturally aspirated. I was looking for another one, for a stock one, and I found one, but this actually works so much better. This is just a stock hose cut down, nothing fancy. Makes it easier to work on. I don't have to mess around with a spring clip or a regular or worm clamp. Nothing in here, just right here. Done. If you have AC, obviously that wouldn't work, but I really don't give a damn about AC. That's why we got a blower. So that's everything I had to do, and I've taught myself most of the tuning stuff I know. Just trial and error. Just go, and figure it out. But this is it. This is just shaved, gutted, and a plate welded to it. If you have any questions, please let me know. I'm trying to think right now while making this video anything you might ask, but that's really the gist of it. It's not a complicated thing. It's just the access to a mill to shave that flat's the hardest part. That's why I'll never get rid of this, because it'd still be a pain to do it again. As easy as gutting it is, getting that shaved. Now, if you have a mill, then you don't have those problems. This adapter plate is to go to an LT1 throttle body. Now this is a dual 48. It's really way too small. I don't know if it was in my head, but the RAM seemed faster with the ported, the RAM one, the 360 Magnum throttle body. It was just not really friendly mounting it sideways. So I used that, but I'm working on, actually after this, I'm going to start working on boring out a throttle body. I've got some stuff to try to do it with a drill and see if I can do a decent job. I've got 52mm blades and 53mm blades coming. so that we can see if we can fix that vacuum issue. The more RPM, the more it pulls, so it needs a bigger throttle body. But back to this. LT1 throttle body, adapter, and then I made some brackets. That's for the transmission or TV cable. And this guy here, I was going to get fancier, but it never actually was a problem, so that's how I bolted on a throttle cable. You could hook the cruise back up, maybe. You'd have to get a little fancier, but it didn't matter to me. So that worked. The reason I used it was they had them at the pull apart. Idle air control. You've got to change the pinning's different from a Dodge to a Chevy, but it's the same connector. You just got to repin it. Change out the throttle position sensor, the connector. It's not a big deal, but all these things are already here on this. Well, of course you're going to have TPS, but that was nice. I didn't want to have to run some weird external crap. So I just hooked that right up, and it worked. So more things. Once you start doing something off the wall like this, there's all these little things you got to figure out yourself. But hopefully I covered most of your questions. If you have any more, just leave a comment and I'll do my best. But eventually this will end up back on this truck because I just really loved this truck. I thought it was super rowdy. I was going to turbo this. I know I'm just going on and on. I was going to turbo this, but I wanted to see what the headers would do. And now that I've got the headers in the exhaust system, I don't want to take all that crap off and rebuild it. I want to leave it on there and put boost back to it. Just a little less boost. Well, thank you for watching. Please like, subscribe. And like I said, if you got any questions, leave a comment. I'll do my best.